In today's video, we're going to talk about the rise, the fall, and the rise of Fujifilm. Beginning with their introduction to the global photographic film industry in 1930 to the release of their latest cameras, lenses, and technology today. Fujifilm was founded in 1934 in Tokyo, Japan. It was established as a joint venture between the government-owned Ministry of Finance and several private sector companies. The company's original focus was on the manufacture of photographic film, but eventually they would expand into many other industries. At the time, Japan's domestic film industry was relatively small and underdeveloped compared to the major foreign film manufacturers like Agfa and Kodak. The government saw the establishment of a domestic film company as a way to promote the growth of the domestic film industry and to reduce Japan's dependence on foreign manufacturers. Additionally, the joint venture between the government and private sectors was established to provide the new company with the necessary capital and technical expertise required to produce such technologically advanced materials. Fujifilm was created with a vision of providing photographers and customers high-quality products and services. As I said a second ago, the company's initial focus was on the production of film, but quickly that expanded to other offerings such as cameras, photo finishing equipment, and even medical supplies. The company's very first color film that they developed, and that was Fujifilm Fujichrome. Fujifilm Fujichrome was a slide reversal film, but eventually Fujifilm's film portfolio would expand to include other offerings such as black and white films and also some color negative films. Some of their more popular films over the years, Fujifilm Neopan, and as we know it today, Fuji Neopan Acros 2 is the film that we still shoot. The original Fujifilm Neopan was a black and white film released in the 1950s. And much like the Fujifilm Acros that we still shoot today and is still replicated by film simulations on their digital cameras, the film was known for its fine grain and high sharpness. One of Fujifilm's more popular products over the years, Ken Rockwell's favorite, and a film that I like so well that I made it its very own video, is Fujifilm Velvia. This is a derivative of the original Fujifilm Fujichrome, and Fujifilm Velvia is a high-quality, fine-grained slide film that was released in 1990, and this was a film that was popular among amateurs and professionals alike for its really high saturation, really high sharpness, and the wonderful landscapes you could get from this film. All in all, Fujifilm Velvia provided excellent image quality. And as I pointed out earlier, Fujifilm also developed and manufactured photo finishing equipment such as film processors and enlargers to support the use of its film. In the early years, the company faced intense competition from established foreign companies, but it was able to overcome that by focusing on quality and innovation. Fujifilm developed new types of film and new manufacturing processes which helped differentiate itself from its foreign competitors, like I said, Agfa and Kodak. Unfortunately, it was this little thing that happened, World War II, but towards the mid to late 1950s, Fujifilm had found its footing once more and was back on the path to success. It had become once again one of the world's leading producers of photographic film. As part of the strategic bombing campaign against Japan, the US dropped a significant number of bombs on major Japanese cities, including Tokyo, where Fujifilm's factories were located. However, with the help of government policies and the hard work of its employees, it was able to recover and once again become the world's leading producer of photographic film. And I would be remiss at this point to not talk about Fuji's long-standing battles with Kodak. Fujifilm and Kodak had a long history of competition in the photographic film marketplace. When Fujifilm was first established in 1934, it faced intense competition because Kodak was the world's leading manufacturer of film. In order to compete with Kodak, Fujifilm had to spend a lot of time working on competing manufacturing processes. The company invested heavily in research and development to improve the quality of its film and develop new types of film that were not available from other manufacturers. Fujifilm and Kodak would battle intensely through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, until the onset of digital photography. Eventually, Eventually, the onset of digital photography would lead to Kodak filing for bankruptcy in 2012. Fujifilm did a much better job adapting to the changes in the marketplace and continued to thrive. In the 1960s and the 1970s, Fujifilm diversified its product portfolio and started manufacturing cameras. One of the more popular sub-brands that Fujifilm produced was their own brand, Fujica, and it manufactured film cameras under this name from the 1960s until the 2000s. It included a wide range of models from basic point-and-shoot cameras to advanced SLRs. The Fujica ST801, a single-lens reflex camera, was one of the most popular film cameras in that line. The Fujica Single 8 was an 8mm movie camera that was released in 1965. It was a popular camera for home movies, and it was well known for its ease of use and compact size. The Fujica AZ1, this was a 35mm point-and-shoot camera that was released in the 1980s. It was known for its compact size and automatic metering system. The Fujica AX5, this was a 35mm SLR camera that was released in the 1980s. It was a popular choice among many amateur and professional photographers. This camera was known for its advanced features and its exceptional image quality. And the Fujica GS645, with 645 in its name, should come as no surprise that this was a 645 medium format camera. This camera was released in the 1980s and it was popular among professional photographers who wanted that additional image quality that medium format could provide. Fujifilm has continued to manufacture and research films even to today, but there have been many popular films made by Fujifilm that have already been discontinued, such as Fujifilm Fujichrome Astia. This was a color reversal film that was released in the early 1980s. It's known for its excellent skin tones and color reproduction. It's widely used by professional photographers and enthusiasts. There's also Fujifilm Fujicolor Superior. This was a consumer-grade color-negative film that was released in the early 1990s. It was widely used for everyday photography, the kind of stuff that you would pick out, take to a Little League game, take on vacation with your family. It was known for its very good color reproduction and exceptionally low cost. And our dearly departed Fujifilm Pro 400H. This was a popular professional-grade color-negative film that Fujifilm only recently announced was discontinued. This film was very popular because of its subtle, blue-shifted, wonderful color reproduction. Wedding photographers would buy into medium format film systems just to be able to shoot weddings on this film stock. As the market began to decline into the digital era, Fujifilm didn't go the way of Kodak, and Fujifilm began developing their own digital camera system. Today, Fujifilm continues to be a major player in the global imaging market. With a wide range of products and a strong reputation for quality and innovation, Fujifilm continued to adapt by developing digital cameras and other imaging products such as photo printers, digital photo frames, and software for image management and editing. The company also diversified into other areas such as medical imaging equipment, such as X-ray machines, and graphic arts equipment, such as large format printers. So that takes us through the fall of Fujifilm. Something that came along towards the end of film photography and at the onset of digital photography was Fujifilm's announcement of a quirky little film format called Instax. And I don't think in even Fujifilm's wildest fantasies they could have anticipated how wildly successful Fujifilm Instax would be. Instax is a brand of instant cameras and films created by Fujifilm. The development of Instax began in the 1990s when Fujifilm was looking for a way to expand its product line and capitalize on the nostalgia trend of instant film photography. First Instax camera, the Fujifilm Instax Wide, was released in 1998. The camera used Fujifilm's proprietary instant film format, which produced credit card-sized prints. Fuji Instax cameras cameras quickly gained in popularity, especially among young people, who, in the world of digital photography, continued to be amazed by the small prints that their instant film cameras would spit out. The instant photos produced by the camera would allow users to see the results of their photography immediately and to be able to share them with others, just by handing them to each other. Over the years, Fujifilm has released various models of the Instax cameras, such as the Instax Mini and Instax Square, and also introduced new features such as built-in flashes, a selfie mirror, and a close-up lens. The company also expanded its Instax film line to include different sizes and features, such as colored frames and double exposures. Fujifilm has reported strong sales of Instax cameras and films with millions of units sold worldwide. The brand has particularly gained popularity among young people and photography enthusiasts. The convenience and the nostalgic appeal of the instant film format could not be denied. And that brings us to the introduction of one of the most important cameras that Fujifilm ever released, and that was the X100. Although it wasn't the first camera in Fujifilm's camera portfolio, the importance of the X100 can't be understated. The Fujifilm X100 is a digital camera that was first introduced by Fujifilm in 2010, which are known for their advanced manual controls, excellent image quality, and wonderfully retro aesthetics. The Fujifilm X100 included a 23mm f2 prime lens built in, couldn't change the lens on the camera, and also an APS-C size imaging sensor. That combination of prime lens and large image sensor combined to create wonderful image quality. The camera also features a hybrid viewfinder, which allows photographers to switch between an optical viewfinder and an electronic viewfinder. Over the years, Fujifilm has continued to release different variants of the X100, and in fact, one of the most popular cameras released over the last year was the newest version of the X100. Each new version of the X100 has built on the success of its predecessor and continued to add new features and enhanced image quality. The X100 camera series has been widely regarded by photographers over the past few years and continues to remain one of the most popular cameras out there. That brings us to the announcement and the release of the Fujifilm X series proper, not the X100, the interchangeable lens version of their digital cameras. With Fujifilm's coffers freshly stuffed full of cash from the release and the success of Instax, Fujifilm decided to spend a little of that money on an advanced interchangeable lens version of its cameras. The Fujifilm X series is a line of digital cameras that was first introduced in 2011 after the successful release of their X100 in 2010. The development of the X series began as a response to the changing market conditions in the digital camera industry. As the market for film cameras declined, Fujifilm recognized the need to adapt and expand its offerings to include digital cameras. Unlike Kodak, who thought it would be best to bury their head in the sand and hope things work out, the company began to develop the X series as a high-end line of digital cameras. You could see that with the early iterations of their cameras, the X Pro 1, the XT1, the XE1, all those cameras, they had premium build quality. All those cameras had really good looking aesthetics and really high build quality. Most of them were largely made entirely of metal. The first camera to be released in the X series was the Fujifilm X Pro 1. This camera was released in 2012 and it featured a unique hybrid viewfinder. The camera also featured an advanced 16 megapixel APS-C image sensor and wonderfully convenient advanced manual controls. Since the release of the X Pro 1, Fujifilm has continued to develop and expand the X series. The company has released a number of new models, including the XT1, the XT2, the XT3, T4, XH1, XS10, and XE4, among many others. And each of these cameras catered to a very specific niche of photographers. Some of these were focused more on convenience and portability, while others were focused on providing advanced features and conveniences to professional photographers. The X series cameras and lenses are known for their exceptional image quality. And because the cameras were built on the APS-C image sensor platform, they were also designed to be compact and portable, which makes them very appealing to photographers who value that functionality and portability. The Fujifilm X series has been well received by photographers, and it's allowed Fujifilm as a company to once again re-establish itself as a leader in the photography space. After riding the success of Instax and their X series, Fujifilm announced the development and release of a brand new digital medium format system. Over the past few years, Fujifilm has continued to release cameras and lenses in their medium format camera line, which have been very well received by professional photographers. These cameras and lenses are quite expensive, but when compared to the prices of their competition, Fujifilm's medium format digital cameras provide some of the best deals in the game. Over the past decade or so, Fujifilm's relationship with film has been tenuous at best. Fujifilm has continued to discontinue film after film, and many of their other films have spent long periods listed on websites as out of stock. I made a whole video about this, but Fujifilm recently discontinued many of their popular consumer-grade Superia films and announced the reformulation of these films as Fujifilm 200 and Fujifilm 400. After testing, many folks believe these to be actual Kodak manufactured films, and that can even be seen on the boxes. It says made and manufactured in the USA. And that caused many of the film photographers some worry, as we were worried that once again we would be losing some of Fujifilm's wonderful film stocks. Lucky for us though, after some months had passed, Fujifilm announced the return of Fujifilm's Superia 200 and 400 But Fujifilm also announced that they would be raising prices on many of their other films. Most of us out there are crossing our fingers and hoping that because Fujifilm made these announcements, maybe they're redoubling their efforts on film and that we can hope to have Fujifilm's products with us for a while longer. After all, it stands to reason that after all these years of inflation and price increase and yada yada yada, that some of these films would actually need their prices increased for Fujifilm to be able to justify continuing to produce them. But it does sound like Fuji isn't giving up on film photography just yet. For traditional film photographers, the past decade from Fujifilm has mostly just been a parade of terribles. Fujifilm discontinuing film after film after film and going to websites that most of the films that we actually want to buy being listed is out of stock. But I think it's safe to say, after reviewing the history of Fujifilm as a company, they've safely navigated the post-film photography years with a lot more poise than Kodak. So even though many of us film photographers may not be able to obtain those wonderful films from Fujifilm that we know and love so much, instead of eschewing new technologies and resting on their laurels, Fujifilm has done a fantastic job adapting to the ever-changing landscape of photography. If Kodak would have done the same, I could be sitting here making a video titled The Rise, Fall, and Rise of Kodak. But at this point, Kodak continues on, really more of a shell of its former self, just kind of a zombie. Fuji was the more pragmatic and adaptable company, and that shows over the past few years of financial results for both companies. Fujifilm saw the writing was on the wall with many of their film photography products. They adapted by creating a popular line of instant film products, as well as multiple modern digital camera imaging systems. And it's because of those things that Fujifilm continues to remain a healthy and productive company even today. And if you thought this video was cool and you want to learn a little bit more about one of Fujifilm's most popular color film products, take a look at this video I made about Fujifilm Velvia 50. It's really cool. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, hit the subscribe button.